Someone shared an analysis that compared each U.S. political party's trust in mass media. It shows that in the U.S., mass media has greater influence over Democrats than Republicans. Someone said mass media is only responsible for providing information and presenting opinions. It can't represent justice nor truth. In a normal world, there is only mainstream media, but not the correct media. People need to differentiate credible media sources from untrustworthy ones. As seen in the picture, President Tsai Ing-wen is inspecting Taiwan's military installations. The person that appears in the red circle is a Westerner. Someone said that many military equipment in Taiwan need to be operated by the U.S. military personnel, but this has always been kept a secret. Reuters reported that the White House is moving forward on 3 arms sales to Taiwan. In response, Chinese Foreign Ministry said, Zhao Lijian said China urges the U.S. side to fully recognize the very damaging nature of its arms sales to Taiwan, abide by the One China principle and the provisions of the 3 China-U.S. joint communiques, immediately cancel all arms sales plans to Taiwan, and stop arms sales to Taiwan and military ties between the U.S. and Taiwan. China will make a legitimate and necessary reaction in the light of the development of the situation. Someone asked, in the CCP's eyes, aren't the 3 joint communiques outdated historical documents? Someone said, U.S. arms sales to the Republic of China is an internal affair of the U.S. Why is the CCP attempting to interfere? An exclusive article by Japanese media revealed that Trump may intend to make a surprise visit to Taiwan and recognize Taiwan's status in the meantime. The U.S. has also prepared an alternative plan for Vice President Pence or Secretary Pompeo to do so. It was said that the EU and the U.S. allies mostly agree with the plan. The report also mentioned that Beijing is striving to prevent Trump from being re-elected. Someone said, back then Nixon made a surprise visit to Beijing. Why can't Trump make a surprise visit to Taipei? Someone shared a strange phenomenon and said, in the U.S., over 200,000 people died from COVID. Some people claim that Trump should shoulder the responsibility. In the UK, over 60,000 people were diagnosed with COVID. They claim that Boris Johnson should shoulder the responsibility. In France, 38.4 million people so far have been infected. They again claim that the French president should shoulder the responsibility. However, when it comes to infections and deaths in China, they stopped saying who should shoulder the responsibility and instead emphasize how powerful the virus is and that the Chinese government has done well enough to combat it. Someone shared a picture collage and said these are all Antifa members who were arrested in Portland. Some of their headshots are in color. This implies that these people were teachers in public schools. Someone said, to some extent, this reflects the current state of American education, especially in public universities and research institutions. According to a new database released by the U.S.-China Economic and Security Review Commission, 217 Chinese companies are listed in the U.S. with a total market cap of $2.2 trillion. In fact, the Western capital market has played a key role in Beijing's rise. Someone reminded it was not only the U.S. capital market that helped the CCP, but also the French government. The French government has provided the CCP with many technologies, including nuclear and bacterial technologies. Recently, Communist China was again elected as a member of the UN Human Rights Council. Someone said this is a real shame to the international community. But there is also good news. This time, PRC only received 139 votes in favor, which is 41 fewer than the 180 votes it received 4 years ago. These 41 votes are sufficient to illustrate the failure of Beijing's diplomacy as well as the international community's gradual awakening to the communist regime's true color. Someone suggested the U.S. should disband the UN, establish an alliance of democracies that excludes the participation of dictatorships. Someone said a country's political system should be included in the assessment criteria of whether it is allowed to join the UN.
Child, we will take you in. Child, we will bring you home. You'll be a flower that sees the spring. Soon a dove